So looking at the Cyclops trailer, there's a lot of odd things going on for sure. Not only is it the first character we're getting to see before the launch of the game, which is a huge deal for the Season 1 lineup, it's a fan favourite character, but with a twist. This character is a what-if version of Cyclops being Phoenix Cyclops, where he's a bit more of a bad guy from what I've been told. And this is very peculiar because if you look at the rest of the roster, there isn't really a variant of a character. The best that you could argue is maybe Champion and Promoter, as they've had very different designs in previous comics, and it may as well be an Arxis original because of the way these characters have been redesigned. They may as well be new characters, but here, this is a variant of a very popular character and not his usual self. I want to ask, what will we possibly see in Season 1? As this is a very odd first character to be thrown at us from this lineup. In today's video, I want to ask, why is our first character a variant compared to being a usual character design that you'll see? And I think it's a huge hint for Season 1. But I'm going to go through the Season 1 and what we will possibly see throughout the lineup, throughout the hints and what we've been told throughout the game. And I'm going to talk about some possible things that we may see down the line, as it makes the most amount of sense to me. But if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to let me know by liking the video. If we reach 100 likes, I'll post turtle pictures again. So thank you very much for that last one. But let's get into it by talking about who could possibly be in the Season 1 lineup. First off, I think we need to talk about what the Season 1 lineup is, rather than the characters coming up. The way to put it is, I think the Season 1 lineup, and I talked to Keno about this, that he told me this idea and I thought it was a genius one. What if Season 1 is a what if lineup of characters? And this makes a ton of sense. If it was going to be Cyclops, it was going to be Cyclops, and then afterwards you need to guess what it is. Whereas if it's a what-if version, now there's a lot more that could definitely happen with the Season 1 lineup that has to suit the order of characters we've seen and talked about in what-if versions. It makes sense. Cyclops being the Phoenix Cyclops rather than just being Cyclops is a perfect evidence of this. We're going to go to our first character in the Season 1 lineup. This is a character that I really want. This is a character that was also talked about, and it makes sense to see. Thor. And I think what they'll do with Thor when they add him to the game is do a what-if variant that's really popular and current right now, Mortal Thor. And the main reason why I think this is because when Deadpool talks to Loki, it's basically blurred out as he talked about Reddit leaks saying that you'll look forward to him, but it won't be the same. And Loki's all like, goody. And I'm thinking Loki would find it very funny if Thor didn't really have his powers, would he? I'm thinking for the gameplay of Mortal Thor is like he's going to be a bit more of a heavy-handed attacker type style where it's like very aggressive, very rushdowny. However, you can maybe build up something that lets him have the might of Mjolnir. Maybe he gains stacks on his hammer or something like that. Or maybe after doing a certain amount of attacks in his hammer, he gets like the proper fit and all that. He's proper Thor. Mortal Thor would be a really cool idea, but we'll have to wait and see. And the next two characters, I don't know what if versions you can do for them because I'm not too educated about Marvel. So I want to hear what you guys think would be a great what if. But I know these are the two characters that we'll definitely see. That being Silver Surfer and Squirrel Girl. It makes sense, they were both in the story and the run-up comic to Marvel Tokon, so you'll definitely see them down the line. I think it just makes the most amount of sense. However, if you were to grab a what-if version, what do you get, right? Like, what makes the most sense? I think for Silver Surfer, people talked about the Dark Surfer, something like that, but I'm not too educated about what that could be, but it could be a cool idea down the line, I think. In terms of gameplay, I think it'll be hard to implement due to the fact that there's already a character doing what he does, which is riding the board and threatening high-low, Green Goblin. So I'm like, if you're adding Silver Surfer, how are you going to make him unique compared to Green Goblin? Are you going to be less zony and more aggressive, I'm guessing, if I had to guess? Like, that's the best I can think of. With Squirrel Girl, I have no idea what version they could grab for her. For what I was seeing, she's a bit the same in most versions. Maybe a cool costume from Marvel Rivals. Maybe go with Venom Squirrel Girl for a bit of fun. Who knows? For a game plan, I could definitely see a route that you could go to. Maybe she does arced projectiles as she uses the obvious slingshot to go wild. And then maybe she has a set play projectile that goes across the ground that she can obviously threaten with a jump in. So maybe squirrel stuff into the acorn stuff. Who knows, but I can see a lot of fun offense being set with the character. So that Season 1 lineup makes sense to me. A what-if version of all these different characters, and there's only one I can think of, sorry about that. Phoenix Cyclops, Mortal Thor, and a what-if of Silver Surfer, and of course, Squirrel Girl. I think this makes sense. These are all popular characters that are well liked. And we're obviously going to see live versions because of Cyclops. It makes the most sense. But one team that definitely needs to get added to this game, and you know, it'd just be bizarre if we didn't see them considering we're mentioning in the story and in the background of the stages, the Fantastic Four. It's the Fantastic Four in a 4-fighter team game. It makes sense that they eventually show up. However, I don't think they should take up an entire season. I think that'll cause that type of fatigue where it's like another Fantastic Four, another Fantastic Four, and it's a year of drip feeding Fantastic Four at you. I think everyone would hate that. I know I would. So maybe sprinkle them in a couple of seasons might be the best way to go. I know eventually year 3 you'll eventually have your team of the Fantastic Four, but making them an entire season would feel very dry in my opinion. Very, very dry, because you know what's coming. Oh, we filled up all 3 slots. I wonder who the last guy is. Oh, it's the fire guy, you know, flame on, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Human Torch, that's it. I can't imagine them doing an entire season, but I don't want them to drip feed it either, so it's a bit of a weird one what they do with that team. Plus, I want to see the Thing, you know, it's clobbering time. I love that guy. I would love to see him in a fighting game because he's very unique and fun. However, there's a problem with the Fantastic Four. Looking at Reed Richards and the Thing, there's 2 characters in rosters already probably doing what they do. The Hulk, it's already an armor-based character. What do you think the Thing is gonna do? You know what I mean? And Miss Marvel is already super stretchy. What's Reed's gonna do? You get what I mean? It's this weird scenario where we've got characters already kind of doing things that they'll do, but Arxists are kind of known for putting samey characters in with slightly different designs. I just think it'd make a ton of sense if we did get the Fantastic Four, but maybe like 2 a season or something like that, because that's the way I view it. Lastly, I think they'll do some bonus characters down the line. It's not rare for a fighting game company to do this, where they do a bonus free DLC character. For example, Samurai Showdown had one, and I think Fatal Fury had one, where it's just a fun little boss character, completely playable, completely free. And they may have some issues because, you know, they were designed to be a boss and then turned into a character. But I think they'll do it. I think they'll do it with the promoter and the base form of champion. I think we may see that down the line as some type of free, hey, here's a fun little guy for you. Because I think they really want to make the promoter a playable character. However, one of the issues with her is that she's probably not balanced to be a playable character, and they need to figure that out first. Because she's so fine though! Make her playable, honestly. You're missing out, Arxis, right? You're usually great with your women. Like come on! Everyone wants her. I mean, me, peacing out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, hype, sub, and if we get 100 likes, of course, I'll post more pictures of turtles. I've got to do that today. And tell me who you think your Season 1 lineup will be. And if your Season 1 lineup is anything fun, love to hear it. And I also want to hear some what ifs for those other characters, because I'm not too educated about it. And that's me. Catch you in the next one. See ya.